Good day, good day. Let's see who's here. I have to move up close to see who's here and then back to do my thing. Good day, Sister Jeannie and CJ and RM. Denise, I'm sure, will be chiming in. CW, possibly. Today is Friday, November 15th, 2024. And let's make sure this stove is quiet. I don't know. I think I have to give it a good cleaning. Let me take these off again. So there's a bunch of question marks on the title. So I'll go back later and change it now that I've finally decided what to talk about today. I wonder. Yeah, let's say the Good Day Rising prayers first, and then I'll come back over here. But I did wanted to mention something to think about is, you notice how they changed. I'm even looking at the weather, the maps on the apps, that you have, and it says that it's 25 degrees Fahrenheit here this morning, this day, this Good Day Rising. And then I was looking, and then I looked in the fine print, and it says actual 28. So I'm like, okay, so it used to be the other way around. It used to be the actual was the temperature, that was the big number, and then feels like was the smaller number. Is this just another way that they're trying to get feelings into more of our society? So, and also it causes confusion, okay? Because you think it's one, but it's really another, and then it's, I don't know, just one of those things. Let's get started with praying first. In nomine Dei, Maternam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, as envisioned by St. Lucia in the Trinitarian Theophany, as the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation. Humbly venerate the Divine Family. O most holy and venerable Trinity, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O most holy Trinity, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Maternam Nostrae. O most holy Trinity, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O most Holy Trinity, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities, Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O most holy Dea Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Dei meisum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, the Holy Trinity. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all, because they offend thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Okay, so today is Free For All Friday, and if you want to perform a sacrifice, self-sacrifice, that's great. Abstain from meat or candy or something that sugar. Let's do a sugar-free day today. What do you say? Those parasites love that sugar. If we can deny them and deny ourselves, that would be advantageous to the soul and the body. All right, one quick thing here. Like I mentioned before, there was a comments about, yelling at me that Mary is not God. Okay, so I'm going to read from Bishop Dorotheus. Okay, Dorotheus was Bishop of Marcianopolis, a see in Lower Moesia, on the right bank of the Danube, named after Trajan's sister, Marciana. At the time of the Council of Ephesus, he sided with the group around John of Antioch and signed the act which deposed Cyril and Memnon, Bishop of Ephesus. That gives you a little bit background of who he was. He was pretty courageous, if you will. And so he stated, if anyone says that Mary is the mother of God, let him be anathema. Okay, very interesting. And St. Cyril writes a letter to, let's see, for the I'm not sure who he's writing this letter to, but in any case, this is what he says. St. Cyril writes about this proclamation. Since your piety has written to me that the most devout Nestorius was grieved because of the letter I wrote to the monks, desiring to hold in check those who were scandalized at the rumor, I say this of necessity, that it arose not so much from us as from his reverence. I expounded the doctrine of the true faith to those scandalized by his interpretations. He himself, in the Catholic and Orthodox Church, allowed the good Bishop Dorotheus openly to say, quote, if anyone says that Mary is the mother of God, let him be anathema, unquote. And when he heard this, he was not only silent when Dorotheus spoke, but admitted him immediately into mystical communion and made him his fellow communicant. There's a footnote here. See, therefore, that we have been anathematized. It just continues. See, therefore, that we have been anathematized in his very presence, not to say by him, with him presiding, for Dorotheus would not have spoken such things in the church against the will of Nestorius. Now both we the living, the bishops throughout the world, and our fathers who have gone to God have been anathematized. What then hindered us also from writing the opposite to his words and saying, quote, if anyone does not call Mary the Mother of God, let him be anathema, ? But I have not done this so far because of him. Okay, so let's clarify that a little bit. Okay, it takes some deep understanding that, as we say, we understand that Mary is not God. So anybody who claims that, and words mean things. Okay, you can't assume one to the other. That's what has happened to us for so long by others who have wanted to control our thinking and our interpretations. Our Lady is what we're saying. Okay, so listen to this now. No instance of divine honor paid to Mary, remarks Coleman from Augusti, that was in parentheses. So no instance of divine honor paid to Mary is recorded of an earlier date than the 5th century. Okay, so it was all Our Lady, we can assume, prior to the 5th century. Okay, so that's how come we're talking about going back to the original Mass as far as we should, because there were already those who were infiltrating it and trying to interject these ideas into the church and to confuse her. Festivals to her memory began to be held about the year 431, but were not generally observed. All right, so, and then we just mention quickly here what St. Lucia received in her vision here of the Trinitarian Theophany. Quote, I understood it was the mystery of the Most Holy Trinity that was shown to me, and I received lights about this mystery, which I am not permitted to reveal, unquote. Okay, so there's something to chew on. And today, with the straw man, I wanted to continue. I'm just going to talk about a novation and orders. This is an affidavit that I am preparing to send to a credit card company. And we're going to start, we're going to go over this one by one as I'm getting help with this as well. And as we communicate and learn things, I will pass it on to you, this process that we're doing. And I have another close a relative, let's just put it that way, who's doing one of these at the same time. Okay, so the first page is what it is. It's an affidavit, a novation, orders, clarification, and statement of value and consideration. Okay, so we're gonna tell this credit card company / bank, because all the credit card companies are owned by banks. We're gonna tell them, we're gonna define our terms. Okay, you can't have a discussion, any meaningful discussion, without agreeing upon the terms. There's no contract either. Okay, so the first thing is definitions. I don't know, probably can't see it from there, but it says definitions. So, okay, once they receive this, they'll understand the definitions. Now, these are definitions mainly coming from Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, and in this particular case, we're using the 4th edition. It's, I guess it's very well liked and very clear. So the first definition is payment. What is a payment? And the first thing we have to do is realize that it's not we have to get this idea of the Federal Reserve paper notes, cash, debit card thing. That's not the only form of payment. That's what we've been so used to because that's all we've been told. This section should be put in schools. Okay, this is what should be taught. So the definition of payment that we're using here from Black's Law, 4th edition, is the fulfillment of a promise or the performance of an agreement. Now, nowhere in there does it say Federal Reserve notes. Okay, and that's very important. That hit me yesterday when I was watching a video of Brandon Joe Williams. And I don't recommend, I recommend his content, but I do not recommend his being. And hopefully he watches this. He's very good at studying, very bad with his language, as is vulgar. He doesn't think it matters, but it does. And in a higher spiritual, he's at a lower soulful plane at the moment, but it doesn't mean that we throw the entire baby out with the bathwater. So he's put this together in a pretty clear sense. So payment, the fulfillment of a promise or a performance of an agreement. Tender. Pretender. I was accused of being a pretender priest. Tender. Pre meaning before. Tender. The offer of performance, not performance itself. And when unjustifiably refused, places the other party in default and permits party making tender to exercise remedies for breach of contract. Okay, so let's say that I have this payment, okay, an agreement, and I offer this performance of an agreement, and they're saying here when justifiably refused. So in other words, if they say, well, we can't take that, or I don't know what that is, or that's garbage, or that's not a Federal Reserve note. Okay, that's unjustifiably being refused, and that places that other party in default and permits the party making tender to exercise remedies for breach of contract. Okay. 2, for tender, is an offer of money, the act by which one produces and offers to a person holding a claim or demand against him the amount of money which he considers and admits to be due in satisfaction of such claim or demand without any stipulation or condition. Okay, so we'll get into that also. Check. We're going to go to check now, as in the piece of paper that you get from the bank. Is that Peter? Hello, Peter. My wife found one of your videos on Gab yesterday. And what the heck was it? Oh, it'll come to me. But anyway, she showed it to me. And I said, oh, that's Peter. All right. Check. The Federal Reserve Board defines a check as a draft or order upon a bank or banking house purporting to be drawn upon a deposit of funds for the payment at all events of a certain sum of money to a certain person therein named, or to him or his order, or to bearer, and payable instantly on demand. It must contain the phrase pay to the order of. Okay. And typically the way they're treating checks are it has to have an account or routing number on that piece of paper as well. US dollars, next definition. United States coins, and that's capital U, capital S, United States coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of Federal Reserve banks and national banks, are legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. Foreign gold or silver coins are not legal tender for debts. That's 31 USC 5103. Okay, so it says including Federal Reserve notes. Okay, it doesn't say, well, I won't get into that because including can be used differently. Okay, novation is the next definition. The substitution of a new debt or obligation for an existing one. Okay, so that's what we're here doing. We're going to be doing a novation, the substitution of a new debt or obligation for an existing one. So you have your credit card agreement, okay, that you received, or whatever they claim you signed, you understood, you read, you're abiding by, you're bound to, etc. Now we're sending this in, okay, as a substitution, okay, for that existing debt. That means there's going to be a new agreement. This is the new agreement. Consideration. Next definition. Consideration is not to be confounded with motive. Consideration means something which is of value in the eye of the law, moving from the plaintiff, either of benefit to the plaintiff or of detriment to the plaintiff. Or of detriment to the defendant. Read that again. Consideration means something which is of value in the eye of the law, moving from the plaintiff, either of benefit to the plaintiff or of detriment to the defendant. Again, that's Black's law. And the second definition for consideration is nothing is consideration that is not regarded as such by both parties. So both parties have to agree that the consideration is of benefit, okay? So that's very important. I learned that last night. I'm reading it here and I'm like, wow, okay. So if you have a contract or an agreement or something, and you were unaware of the consideration, or you realized, well, that doesn't benefit me. How does that? Then it's considered nothing. Okay, so that the consideration is not, it doesn't exist. And there has to be consideration in a lawful contract. Okay, last definition before we get to Mass for today is nation. Very interesting. All right, and here's where I'm thinking we need to get a Catholic nation started. This gentleman that I've been studying, he started his Amnesty Coalition nation. Okay, it doesn't have to have geography. It doesn't have to have land. Okay, quote, nation, an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. But every combination of men who govern themselves independently of all others will not be considered a nation. A body of pirates, for example, who govern themselves are not a nation. To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. The body thus formed must respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. Such a society has her affairs and her interests. She deliberates, and takes resolutions in common, thus becoming a moral person who possesses an understanding and will peculiar to herself. An understanding and will, peculiar, sorry, not particular, and will peculiar to herself, and is susceptible of obligations and rights. And there's that big case mentioned there for that, defining. Sorry, where are we? All right, I got to do this quick. Two more definitions. Definitions of order and promise. Order means a written instruction to pay money signed by the person giving the instruction. The instruction may be addressed to any person, including the person giving the instruction, or to one or more persons jointly or in the alternative, but not in succession. An authorization to pay is not an order unless the person authorized to pay is also instructed to pay. They have to know. Promise. Promise means a written undertaking to pay money signed by the person undertaking to pay. An acknowledgement of an obligation by the obliger is not a promise unless the obliger also undertakes to pay the obligation. And last definition, is ens legis, aka straw man. Okay, so straw man now has this negative connotation in the legal world, even though it's a legally defined word in the legal dictionaries. It's developed this, it's just like sovereign citizen, which is an oxymoron. So he found this ens legis, E-N-S L-E-G-I-S, 2 words. A creature of the law, an artificial being, as contrasted with a natural person. Applied to corporations, considered as deriving their existence entirely from the law. Black's law. So that's a very, another powerful word that we'll be using in this process. All right, I'm going to stop there, and we'll continue next Friday with this process. And if I hear anything in the meantime with the IRS, I'll let you know. Right now, I did send back some clarification on what payments were for where, what overpayments, when, how they got them, etc. They wanted proof, of that. They just haven't. They said that they haven't applied the payment. It says it appears you have made a payment. It has not been applied yet. Okay, well, apply it. They're delaying. They don't want to have to do this. They don't want to have to follow the law. So they're being. So we have to have patience and pray for them. And so I did get good news this morning. Quickly, I've been battling this title on a car that I purchased forever. Vermont changed their whole title system for cars, automobiles, etc. And so people were very confused when they were selling cars. They didn't know if they needed a title. They did, because for a long time they didn't. Anyway, so I bought this car. They told me I didn't need a title. Over in New Hampshire, I do need a title for it. We'll get into titles another day, another time. But in the meantime, I just need the car on the road, so I'm not being arrested. Don't have time for that. So I got the assistance of a DMV employee over in Vermont, and I finally got word this morning that they did obtain the title because they had lost it, supposedly. All right, so anyway, enough of that. We'll get going, and the motorhome is coming Tuesday. So let's get started with Mass. Let me get a glass of water first. So, Greg, I will be stopping by, and hello. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud oremus. O most holy Trinity, Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum Hoc Immaculatum Hostium, quam ego indinius famulus tuus offeritibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro unum peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et promnibus circumstantibus, sera promnibus fidelibus, catholicorum vivis atque defunctis, ut mihi et idis proficiat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilitu condidis et mirabilius reformasti, da nobis spiritus atque divinum mysterium, eius divinitatis esse consortes criminalitatis nostrae fieri dignatis est particebs Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tegum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum de peccatis clementiam, ut conspectu divinae, majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum adori suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu meditatis et in animo contrito, suscipiam rata Deum Iesum Christum et sequiet sacrificium nostrum et conspectu tu hodie, uplacia tibi Deum maternam nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificita blata prosequendo, et accapere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini, praeparatum. Suscipe Sancto Trinitas sunt oblationum cum tibi afferimus, a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et discensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum maternam nostrae, et a Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et Omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem et ili pro nobis intercedit et in interim caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in te Spiritum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nominis sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram, totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum et quoque apud te, sursum corda, habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Dei egito clementissimi Mater et Pater et Deum Maternam nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ac petimus, uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium ilibata. In primis quae tibi afferimus, pro ecclesiam tuum sanctum catholicam, quam pacificari custodire ad honore et regere, digneris toto orbe terrarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We continue to pray for Katie, Gage, RM, Neil and Earl Lively, Marie Josephina Mose, Letitia, Clarette, Mark Jr., Henry Barber, and Benedict Santa Croce, Rebecca Santa Croce, James Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, Amble Tink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria, and the Lineweber family, the Cahill, Kendrick, Dasco, Nye, Tafor, Wolf, Began, Kane, families, and their intentions. We pray that Mr. Nobody receives the final fundings and strength to complete the first Sedevacantist Catholic Council office at Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy/nation with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange, with no usury. We pray that courageous men step forward as leaders of this Catholic society, that they learn these truths that are coming out. We ask that all quote-unquote gay marriage and all pornography and the OnlyFans platform be stopped, that anybody participating in them wake up to the sinfulness and the deathness that it envelops them. We pray to force the release of all information regarding Sister Lucia and how she was killed or how she died. We pray for the elimination of all harmful radiation waves in our air and in our homes. And we pray for the conversion of all sinners, especially those trapped in mortal sin. All this we ask in accordance with the Holy Trinity's divine will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognitas et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi efferimus veruque tibi affront hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suis que omnibus, pro redemptione amarum suarum prospe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi crederunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et memoram venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum Maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium torum Papa Sancta Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum, tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque, concedas ut in omnibus, protectiones tuae, muniamur exidio per innum Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblationum te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratum acceptabilum perfecere dignitis ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat delictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sanctus ac venerabilis manus suas, et elevatis oculis in caelum ad Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit didique lumnis sui dicens, accipete et mondicate ex hoc omnis. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremoniae est accipiens erhunt praeclarum caricem in sanctus ac venerabilis manus suas, item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit didique lumnis sui dicens accipite, et bibite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis affondetur in remissione peccatorum, haec quod est cum purificeritis in me mona facietis. Unde et memores Deum nos servituis et plebs tua sancta iustum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passionis nec non et inferis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis offerimus praeclarae maestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio axere novutur respicieri digneris. Supplices te ragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube hic perfere per manus tuum ut quod, ex hoc altaris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem sincerimus, omnis sanctificatione caelestia gratia Rei per amor per indum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for the deceased. And we especially pray for Margaret LaPlante, aka Mimi, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscentibum locum refugere lucis et pacis udodor gesta procamor per indum Christum Deum nostrum. Perquem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matronum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea Matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea Matronam nostrae, Matronam Deum Iesum Christum, ora pro nobis peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata et gloriosa semper Dea Matronam nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitius pacem in divus nostris. Ut opi misericordiae tuae aduite de peccato, simu semper liberi et ob omni perturbatione securi. Per iundum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam, pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apotei, haec mixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat excipientibus nobis in et salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apotei, Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronam nostrae, qua operante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivicasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis males, et fac me tui semper inharare mandatis, et in numquam separare permittas, qui cum eo Deum Matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimo non mihi proveniat in idicum condemnationem, sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi ad utumentum mentis corporis, et ad me delam percipiendam, qui vivis et reinas cum Deum Matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem accipiem, et numen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea Matronam nostrae non sunt dignius, orditus est et meis, et ante de verbos napaternam mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignius, orditus est et meis, et ante de verbos napaternam mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignius, orditus est et meis, et ante de verbos napaternam mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodia aeternam mea. Quid returbum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus, quae returbut mihi, Calicem salutaris excipim et nome Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo. Laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae et ab inimicis mei salvosero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Quodore sumus Deum Iesum Christum pudamente capiam et septimum et tempore fiat nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod somse et sanguis quam potave et hede et visceribus meis et praesta, ut in me non remaniat scela macula quam purat sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one holy divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, ite missa est, Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium corroculis tuae maestatis in minus authoritatis et captavere miquet omnibus, pro quibus idut opliciti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae. I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostra, et in Iesum Christum, et in Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Thank you for being here today, and appreciate all of your comments too. And hello, William, and I don't know how to pronounce D-U-X. Is it do or Dukes? Nona. Yes, I look forward to getting there. I don't have plans for yet as to when we're heading south. We have to work out work and all sorts of things. But I look forward to visiting whoever I can. The motorhome is going to need a lot of fuel. So any way you can help me. If the IRS comes through, then I won't need your help at all. But right now they are stalling. So I appreciate all of your help and prayers. All right, please go and sanctify all those who you meet. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. Have a great day.